Is your head coming loose? Started thinking right minus two. Cause when I thought of you, supposition started slipping through. Now when I'm feeling wild, there's a mountain I'll go for a while, and there's nothing to do. Just watch the clouds roll through. And if I don't come back home, find me by the mountainside.
Okay, I'm headed into the swamp. The wind is absolutely howling, so I'll do the best I can with filming, but we're gonna go see if we can kick one up. I'm just gonna move really slow and glass my way through the forest, and I'm hoping I can catch a buck bedded up. Well, I just found a few fresh beds. It doesn't feel warm. It looks like they're probably an hour or two old. Just behind them. Well, I followed those tracks for a while this morning, but they just kind of dispersed into some grassy meadows. The hunt continues, and I just made it up to this big sandy ridge overlooking the lake here, and the wind is absolutely howling, so I'm gonna keep working. We have a lot of ground to cover. Well, this view is absolutely stunning. I got to the backside of this big ridge that's kind of overlooking the lake. Wind was really strong on one side. I came to the other and I could see some sign where I must have spooked a couple deer, and they took off running down this hill. So I think I'll follow it and get down near a grassy meadow, and we'll overlook that for a little while. Well, about 300 yards right in front of me on the side of this ridge, I just picked out 2 does walking right on the side of it, but I don't see a buck with them. Well, it's getting to be about 4 o'clock. I'm about 5 miles away from my truck, so I think I'm gonna get working back that way because we're only gonna have about another hour and a half of daylight. But it was a great day of still hunting. I thoroughly enjoyed wandering around through these big hills. I chased some does around, didn't find any bucks, but hey, who knows? Maybe I'll stumble on one on my walk back to the truck. Well, somebody certainly has about 5 or 6 pictures of my mug on their trail cam. I stood here looking at these few scrapes. I was looking at some licking branches and rubs, and then I look up and I see a trail cam pointed right at me. Comment down below if you have a picture of me on your trail cam. The track begins. Oh man. Oh man. I got him. I got him. Oh my God. I've worked so hard for this moment. Oh my God. He's down right here. I can see him. I'm just gonna give him a minute. I hit him from about 150 yards coming through these whippets. I got up right on him. I saw him coming through this side of the whippets on top of this small ridge. I hit him again. He's down, baby. Let's go get him, baby. Oh yeah, he's a nice buck. I'll set my rifle down right here. We got an 8-pointer, baby. Well, I have to say, we have some meat in the freezer, and I've been able to harvest a few does, but it sure feels good to notch a buck tag, baby. Well, since he's a nice 8-point, I'm gonna be able to use my restricted tag on him. It's the first time ever. This is my biggest buck, people. I've shot a few bucks in my life, you know, when I was younger, mostly hunting over bait piles out of blinds, but this is the first buck I've ever shot like this. Nice 8-pointer, my biggest deer. I just couldn't be happier. We're gutting a buck. Well, our deer is tagged, our deer is gutted, and now it's time for a long drag back to the truck. We're gonna have some thick timber to go through too, so I'm gonna get working. It sure feels good to be dragging them by the antlers. Well, I just got our deer back to an old logging road here, and I wanted to give you a quick look now that he's tagged and out of the thick timber, but I really couldn't be happier. My biggest buck ever. I chased him around for a few hours this morning, up through the hills, up through the thick cover, but finally caught up with him. Was able to take his life, and I'm so grateful for this animal. He will be cherished, he will be honored, and I will cherish this memory throughout the rest of my life. Well, good morning and welcome back, folks, to the last 2 days of Michigan's firearm deer season. To be honest, I am still on cloud 9 after harvesting my buck, which is hanging right up in my yard here. Now, I shot this buck a little ways away from home yesterday, and we had a whole game plan in store about how we were going to pitch a deer camp for the last few days of season, but we ran into some problems with our tent, so we had to scratch that idea. And late last night, I came up with the idea that I have in store today, which is to load up a tent camp, hike deep into the backcountry, and hunt an area that I've never hunted before, and see what happens. Breakfast. Now that is a deer hunter's breakfast right there. Well, camp's all packed up in my backpack here. Have my rifle, have my binoculars, and all the gear I'll need to camp through a snowstorm, which is coming in this afternoon. Now, the forest is very crunchy right now, and we have a lot less snow here compared to where I hunted yesterday. So I'm not gonna be able to track here, and it's probably gonna be really difficult to still hunt just because it's gonna be very loud walking through the frozen, crunchy leaves. So with that being said, I think I'll probably find a spot to sit this evening, and then if we get a bunch of snow, we could find another fresh track first thing tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna get hiking, I'm gonna have a long hike and just hunt my way until we set up camp. Looks like a buck made a fresh scrape right there. I just just saw a doe take off out of this hay grass, and I'm seeing quite a bit of fresh deer sign already, so it's looking good, baby. Some fresh droppings. That's from a doe that's in heat. Well, there's a bunch of beds on top of these little knobs, and you can see right here, there's a couple good runways that are intersecting, and the leaves are really turned up from the deer feeding on acorns. I see a buck. Well, that was so cool. I was coming down this ridge here. I noticed a deer about 75 yards into these cattails and hay grass. It had its head down, but it picked its head up, and I saw it had a pretty decent rack, but I didn't feel like it was bigger than the buck I harvested yesterday. And honestly, I couldn't tell exactly how big it was, but that was a beautiful deer, and I managed to get some cool video of him. A lot of nice deer sign in here right now. Okay, camp is set up. Now it's time to go find a hunting spot. Well, I made it to an area where the forest transitions from the hardwoods, the oaks, into more of big sandy pine bowls. I don't know, it looks good. I'm seeing deer tracks. I'm gonna go find a good spot where I can see a ways and post up for the night. Set up in my spot here on this sand knob. I can overlook about 3 or 4 really nice runways. That buck track I saw too was just down below here, so I'm really hoping we get some snow tonight, because if we do, I'm gonna try to find that buck tomorrow morning. I'd definitely say it's a good one, but we'll see if we can get one to come through tonight. I'm the popsicle sniper tonight. Well, I just had a doe come down about 5 minutes ago. She came out from the pines on my left. She moseyed around and fed on the hay grass for a little bit, and then she disappeared back into them, but didn't look like there were any more deer with her, so. I see 2 does right now. Well, I just had 2 more does come down and feed in the hay grass for about 10 minutes. My binoculars are so frozen and iced up that I gotta use my scope to glass right now because it has covered caps. My hands are just frozen, absolutely frozen. Oh. I just had a big spike horn come right up on me, probably about 40 feet away. I never saw it, never heard it. I just looked over and got up a little bit, and he was staring right at me. He bounded off a little bit and just stopped and stared at me some more, but that was so cool. What an experience. Well, I've had a long walk back in the dark, but finally I've made it back to camp. Well, I got camp squared away, but I got a pretty good chill going. So I'm gonna round up some wood and make a fire. Good fire starter. Now that's how you warm up right there. Well, for dinner tonight, we have freeze-dried chicken and dumplings and beef pasta marinara. To be honest, I was all set to make some stick bread over the fire tonight, but I had everything ready to go here, and I just realized I forgot the yeast, so you have to stay tuned for an upcoming episode because we will be doing that soon, but we're gonna have to stick with this for tonight. Dinner is served with a couple pine needles even. Some hot food, a hot fire after a great day in the woods. We saw 2 bucks and I don't know, probably 7 or 8 does today. So you really can't ask for a whole lot more than that. Probably the biggest challenge in winter camping like this when you have snow and rain is keeping everything dry, especially the essentials like your coats. So I'm gonna try to shake all the snow off I can, and I'm gonna seal it up for the night. That way no moisture will collect. Well, I'm all cozy inside my shelter here. The snow is definitely coming down outside, but I'm exhausted. I'm gonna get some sleep. The sleeping bag's nice and toasty, and I will see you guys first thing in the morning. The lens is frosty. Good morning and welcome back. I'm up and at it this morning. There's definitely some fresh snow this morning, that's for sure. I don't know if we got a foot like they were calling for, but we got a few good inches anyway. So I'm gonna get dressed up here and get ready to go hit the woods. There is some snow, baby. Let's take a look. Oh my gosh, we definitely got some snow. Well, that was a good hike in here, but I'm all set up in my spot. Let's get them. Big buck. Well, right after I jumped those 2 deer, I caught a glimpse of another one, and it was definitely a buck, and I think it was a nice buck. I just got on this track here, and to me it looks like a nice track, so I'm gonna give it about a half hour, let them settle down, and then we'll start tracking them. He wants to get back with that doe that he was with when I jumped him, and he's heading right back for her direction, so we're catching up with him. He's starting to walk now. He was running for a ways, but he's slowing down. That was a big buck. I missed him. I'm gonna get on his track though. He jumped up, took a good crack at him. I must have missed though, because I've tracked him for about 100 yards and there's no blood at all, and he's running full speed still. So I'm gonna give it probably about 45 minutes. Hopefully he'll bed back down, but I'll be able to follow his tracks. So if I'm lucky, I might have another crack at him. Well, I got on that buck's track. I followed him for probably about 2 or 3 miles, but he just got down into a big barnyard area where there were a ton of tracks. A ton of deer were feeding in the acorns. They had the snow and the leaves all scuffed up. And after that, I really wasn't able to find his track again. But I'm about probably 3 or 4 miles from camp now. I followed him for a good ways and just didn't catch up with them. But that's the way it goes. How exhilarating though. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, baby. For lunch today, we're going biscuits and gravy, 3 servings for me, because I tracked a big buck and missed one. Honestly, I'm just so happy right now. I was able to harvest a beautiful buck. Although I missed one, I learned a tremendous amount this season, and that's what keeps you coming back right there. Hot food sure tastes good right now. 3 servings my ass. Well, my camp is all packed up here. I still have probably about an hour, hour and a half left to shooting light. So what I think I'll do now is just take my time and still hunt my way back to the truck. Well, I made it back to the truck and I made it back to the house. I was gonna spend some more time hunting, but to be honest, I was pretty cold, and really, I'm just so content with this hunting season. I have a beautiful 8-point buck here, baby. I have another doe that I have to clean as well. I'm gonna take both of these deer with me up to Michigan's Upper Peninsula, where I have a heated barn at my family's house, and I'll be able to process them thoroughly. And I'm also gonna get ready to hunt Michigan's muzzleloader season in the Upper Peninsula, because they just got dumped on with snow, and all the deer are going to be migrating. They're going to be moving. I hunted it last year, if you saw a couple of my episodes, and I had just a ton of action. So I'm going to head up tomorrow and get ready for that. And the adventure continues, baby. But I can't even tell you how much this buck means to me, how happy I am, and how hard I've worked for him the last few years. But without further ado, I'm gonna hop inside. I'm gonna get warmed up, see the dogs, see Nicole, and we will catch you in our next episode coming from Michigan's Upper Peninsula.
Clouds roll through. And if I